Why would anyone in their right mind do this? Take a game that is perfectly working right now and remake it inside another game. But that's exactly what this team did. They worked on this for the last 4 years and they made Resurgence of the Storm. This is a remake of Heroes of the Storm, which was originally made by Blizzard in the Starcraft 2 client. And they remade it in the Starcraft 2 client in a big brain move. It was already done. We've already got one. But they remade another. So why would you do that? Why would you put so much development effort into it? That's the question that I'm looking to see answered here today. I want to see the value of this project. And of course, there's the case of who can add to the project, how will the project be added to, etc. So what is Heroes of the Storm? It's a MOBA made by Blizzard. Starcraft 2 is an RTS made by Blizzard. This is a user-made UGC, user-generated content map that I'll be showing off today. And it's called Resurgence of the Storm. Here's their release trailer.
Welcome to Resurgence of the Storm. Despite what you are seeing, this is not Heroes of the Storm. Resurgence of the Storm, ROTS, is a recreation of Heroes of the Storm within
ROTS. I'm pretty sure that Blizzard wouldn't have called it that way. Blizzard is like... But to be fair, if Reforged is a downgrade, which is now called Refunded, then something that has a more negative name like ROTS could instead prosper and not rot.
the Starcraft 2 engine. It is free to play and out now. Instructions later in the video. Like many, we miss
This is
HOTS.
wild.
We miss reading patch notes, getting excited for new heroes, reworks, balance changes. So, we took it into our own hands. Resurgence of the Storm has been in close playtesting for over a year, and in development for over 4. Currently, 15 heroes are available for play. Many are familiar faces with
I see 13 familiar faces and 2 new ones, Celendis and Talanar.
smaller or larger changes, such as new or changed talents and abilities. Let's look at some highlights of the new and changed heroes of Resurgence.
This looks so much like HOTS. It 100% totally looks like HOTS. Like, I wouldn't be able to tell, except this character, which doesn't exist in HOTS. But it's crazy, the rest looks exactly like it.
This is a mobile and precise melee assassin that slices and dices through opponents. Armed with Psyblades and a Protoss fleet at her disposal, she makes quick work.
That looks really good. And let me just pause here for a second. So, ROTS, Resurgence of the Storm, you can download it with a add-on, and more about that later. You can download it with an add-on to your StarCraft 2 file. So you can't just find it in the arcade without doing that first. So it's one extra step. But generally, StarCraft and HOTS players are among the most intelligent in the world. So I think they can figure out how to do it. And both StarCraft and HOTS is free to play. So there's no issue there as well. In fact, this one is probably a little bit more free to play than Heroes of the Storm, where you still need to buy the heroes. So I could even see in some universe, could be this one or an alternative one, where Blizzard sees this as an encroachment on their HOTS IP. Because right now, HOTS heroes, you have to buy the heroes. There's free-to-play heroes, and there's a grind that you can do where you unlock many or all the heroes if you play for a long time. But technically, if they finish putting all the heroes in, which is still a gargantuan workload, you could play it here instead, provided that the gameplay experience is the same. Now, I tested it out just now, for a little bit, and I will be showing that as well inside the game. It is, let's say, 95% the same, but it is not 100% the same. So if you're looking for a full recollection, a full recreation of original HOTS, it's not quite there yet. Is it better or worse? That's going to be up to your own judgment. They added some sound effects, they changed some sound effects, and also some of the abilities feel a little bit different. But by and large, it is a really good recreation of it. I would say it's 95% accurate and loyal to the original. Which still begs the question, why do this at all? So, one advantage is you can add new heroes, as shown here by Celendis and Talanar later. So that's one advantage. You can rebalance the game. You could nerf Tracer or Genji if you wanted to. You would have essentially... You would exchange the king Blizzard, which we voted for, and you would exchange it with another democratically elected king. Well, actually, not quite. Whoever made this map will be in charge of the balance and the design of the game. That person or group may eventually learn what it's like to balance and design for a community that initially will receive it very lovingly, and then eventually people are going to bitch and stuff about heroes that are too strong, too weak, and then they will need to learn how to be resilient and deal with that and leave their own design philosophy to be their own guiding light, because you can't listen to everybody that talks about balance and so on and so forth. You have to have strong opinions yourself that hopefully are also intelligent when it comes to making the game as fun and varied as possible. So, which does bring us to a second risk, segregation of the player base. HOTS still exists and is playable now. Here's ROTS. Who's going to play where? It's easier to get into HOTS because you don't need to download a separate add-on. But at the same time, it's not that hard to get into this either. The more PR this has, the more people will try it out, which is also why I'm showing it. Because I think there's another really big advantage. We're kind of oscillating between advantages and disadvantages. Another advantage is things that can be shown in user-generated content may eventually also be adopted by developers. It's also possible to show, like, hey, this can be done by users. Why did you say it couldn't be done? And look how cool this hero is, right? And I'm always hoping for like good cooperation between developers and between user-generated content makers, especially if people that are so talented that can make this will eventually be allowed to share in the profits of their work, if that's important to them, philosophically or logistically. And I think it is, because they were asking for donations. They've hit their goal for donations. Development will continue for the foreseeable future. It would be great if that was also channelable via Blizzard's own interface. I think that Valve does this. Blizzard never really incorporated user-generated content or creator content like mine inside the client, but I think there's a lot possible there that can be a really big boon to the community and to the drive and incentive to keep having content like this. But let's watch the rest of the trailer.
Both single and multiple targets alike, but struggles in extended one-on-one combat. Talondar is a sturdy, high-damage bruiser, able to stand his ground against or topple over most foes. His Praetor form gives him a unique Purifier twist to the Protoss way of combat, powering up his abilities with Solarite to overwhelm unprepared foes.
I like the look of that.
Arthas has received a full facelift to contend in the Nexus, with a new talent tree, strengthened basic abilities, and a unique
Arthas is very boring inside HOTS. I do kind of like him. I don't mind boring heroes all too much. I like playing Arthas and Morales. So this is another advantage that you can have when you make content yourself. You can diverge from how Blizzard might do it. What is this? Icebound Fortitude, 25 armor and CC reduction. That's normal. And then Frozen Over is a talent. Increase Icebound Fortitude's armor from 25 to 40, and it's stun, root, and slow reduction. Oh yeah.
Contend in the Nexus, with a new talent tree, strengthened basic abilities.
Remorseless Winter. Passive. Heroes hit by Frozen Tempest reduce the cooldown of Remorseless Winter. Wait, this is a new ult? Increase the damage and range of Frozen Tempest. During this, Frozen Tempest heals Arthas. So it's not via the ghouls anymore, but he's gonna heal when he eats people. Okay.
And a unique identity as an immovable object.
Isn't it just a cease and desist away from disappearing? Seems like potentially a big problem. I think in the past, normally there is not such a big problem to remake games inside the editor of the same game developer that has released all that content. Normally, I think this has always been possible and fine and applauded or tolerated. But I agree with you that if you just look at the facts, is that in HOTS you pay for heroes, and here you won't have to. So I could see that happening if they deem it big enough of a threat. So let's make it big enough of a threat. It'll be the first time Blizzard talks about HOTS again in the last few years. Except for that little bug patch that they did like a few months ago.
There must always be a Lich King.
2 Battlegrounds are currently available for play.
They appear to have taken the assets from HOTS though. Yeah, but that's fine. Like Warcraft, the Warcraft 2 mod like there's all kinds of assets that are taken from Blizzard maps and then ported into other games. It's never been a problem before for Blizzard. They've never acted against it.
Cursed Hollow.
Why StarCraft 2 category? But because this is a map inside StarCraft 2.
King's Crest. Cursed Hollow is unchanged from Heroes of the Storm. King's Crest is a small 2-lane map with 1 fort in each lane.
New map.
New talents have been added to old heroes. Let's take you through some of the highlights. At level 1, Ragnaros now has the Raid Time talent. This talent reduces the cooldown of Molten Core for each minion Ragnaros kills, and increases its range, allowing him to participate more often with Molten Core's abilities. At level 16, Diablo now has access to the Tantrum talent. This activatable empowers his next overpower to slam 3 times, stunning an enemy for an extended duration of time.
That's pretty OP.
Malfurion has received a minor rework. Regrowth now heals for a small amount upon cast, and Moonfire has a slightly increased cooldown, but increased damage. Additionally, Malfurion's trait applies its effect faster. At level 13, Malfurion now gets the Wild Shape Hair ability. This ability can be activated on an ally with regrowth to consume the heal, but give them a massive speed boost for a short duration. If you're interested in all the details, check out the full...
They even made the patch notes look exactly the same as when HOTS did patch notes.
In the
This is so nostalgic, man.
description. It's important to note that this is not a full replacement of Heroes of the Storm.
QT Gamer Girl 69 in chat says, I'm glad someone did this, but I will never trust a random set of the community to do balance and game design. Yeah. I mean, that's your right to not trust. And I would say that I might trust a random person from the community to do balance and game design, but the likelihood that I would trust them is about 1 in 10, 1 in 100, or maybe 1 in 5, right? And why is that? Because everybody starts as a member of the community. And you can trust the game developer. We trusted David Kim. We had no choice anyway. And he made the situation of StarCraft 2 now as it is, with Zerg having the eternal advantage over Protoss. So everyone can do right, everyone can do wrong. You wait and see how it goes. That's the much more elevated way of thinking than to just by default decide you're not going to trust. You just look. I mean, you don't have to trust. You just see how it goes. And then you make a decision if you're going to play or not.
As a StarCraft 2 mod, some things are not possible. Some models and abilities cannot be replicated or ported over. Most importantly, there are no quickcast settings. Everyone
I noticed that.
plays with on release.
Everyone plays with on release. That's kind of unfortunate because in a way I feel like on release is the worst. It's the one I like the least. Now I understand why I was able to briefly see Diablo's Firestomp when I tested out Diablo earlier on.
I'd like to share a short roadmap with you.
I do understand the reason, because if you don't have quickcast at all, you're going to turn off most of the people that will actually want to have it on. If you only have quickcast, no one will ever be able to see the shape of their abilities. Therefore, it makes learning hard, except if you mouse click your abilities. So at least with on release, you kind of have both. But the problem is, if you are a slow button presser and you press down, and it depends on your keyboard mechanics as well. If you press down with on release and then you release, when you release is when the ability happens. There is a delay in that because your finger goes down. No matter how fast you are, your finger goes down and then it goes up. You cannot go up before you go down. So on release inherently has the largest... has a larger delay than quickcast.
To show some...
Here's a random message from someone. Please stop screaming in game when a specter or a clink surprises you and jumps you. Many of us are already sleeping to the sounds of your stream. That sounds like a you problem. It's not that I don't... Yeah. It's not that I don't empathize, but that is a you problem and you need to find a solution for this. For example, you can find an application that does audio volume limiting, and you apply it to your browser that you are listening to me with. Something that says, you'll find terms like audio limiting or leveling, and there'll be like an attack time, which is how fast the software can respond to high decibelage. and then it's gonna artificially lower the volume of a voice or a sound. It will also morph how it sounds like a bit, so it may become like a bit more metallic. But this is a decision you should make if you want to sleep with me.
Some of what we've been planning and working on recently.
It's limiting and compression.
Right now, a weapon switching ranged assassin is in development, Calf. She has a variety of weapons to switch between for any situation. A new battleground is in development, Battle for Slain.
Cool.
This Protoss-themed battleground has an objective similar to
This person is a big Protoss fan.
Infernal Shrines, which will summon a Void Thrasher to attack your enemies.
Yo, that's really cool. I saw Colossi.
Additionally, we want to
Naga.
port many more heroes and give them new and exciting talents. Currently, we are looking at adding Brightwing, Greymane, Li-Ming, and Muradin. If Rot succeeds, we are also planning to port fan-favorite brawls, such as Escape from Braxis, or Pool Party.
So Escape from Braxis, let me tell you guys a little history about Blizzard and Heroes of the Storm. Don't worry, it's not going to be a long story, okay? Once upon a time, when Blizzard was still developing Heroes of the Storm, they started making non-PvP combat. They started making non-PvP game modes, a kind of custom brawl. It was different things every time. Sometimes it was a Nova Assassin War where everyone has a railgun and it's Quake. You hit each other once, you die. You try to score points and then you can win some loot chests. You can win some rewards and just have some fun with a silly little game mode that is not the entire game itself. Or Putch Wars, like Putch, Stitches, Blitzcrank, whatever you call it. The hero champ god with a hook. You would keep trying to hook each other across the pond. There was dodgeball, there was snowball fights. A lot of fun little modes that I personally liked. Some not as good, such as the Sergeant Hammer Siege War, where everyone would be like sieging up and just laying mines everywhere because you pooped out a mine every second you used your thrusters and you would thrust a lot. That was a ridiculous game mode. But still, funny that they made it. By far the most popular was Escape from Braxis, a 5 versus environment game mode where 5 people would group up and defeat a series of bosses like Anubarak, Stitches, and others, Zigara. I personally found that a little bit boring, but it was the most popular, I have to admit. There were a lot of positive outcry on Reddit, in the game, on stream, and people wanted more. Please, Blizzard, give us more Escape from Braxis content. And Blizzard said, we hear you. We are deprecating the Brawl game mode and we'll turn it into ARAM forever. And we'll never do anything like this again. We're so glad you love this, but we have not found a way to monetize it. Because Brawl had no monetization. You couldn't pay for it. And that's probably why they killed it. It needed effort to make, and they didn't have a monetization ready. It really made HOTS more popular, and it's like, let's say if tomorrow I stream another game that I've never streamed before, Rocket League, and I get 15,000 viewers. What do? I'll stream it again the day after. If I had fun as well, of course. Well, let's say if I didn't have fun, I'll still stream it again next day. But if I want to stream it long term, I'll still need to enjoy it. Right? That's Blizzard with HOTS. That's Blizzard with HOTS with Escape from Braxis. They're like, oh my god, we made this thing you guys really love. Okay, we'll never do it again. What if you get 0 subs for Rocket League? Yeah, well, there you go. I would still do it. Not forever, but I would still do it.
Resurgence of the Storm is a passion project. Development is done by a small team. Zero Lamberg is the founder, creator, and technical lead. Lamberg's hard work...
By the way, this is great. I should say that the critique against Blizzard is not just for not keep doing it, because businesses need to make money, and if they don't have monetization, okay, sure. But they could come up with a way. Like, they're in control of their own destiny. Right? They could create a system where you can spend some money on these brawls.
Over the last 4 years has made this entire thing possible. Mindhawk leads hero design and balance. Someone new and Libraris assist in design, patch notes, and organizing the project. If you are very skilled with a Starcraft 2 editor and are interested in helping port heroes, or an artist experienced in porting models to Starcraft 2, please contact Mindhawk on the
These guys are all so talented. Like, they're talented programmers. It always astounds me when people that made the Warcraft 2 campaign and Warcraft 3 that I've been playing these days, the Chronicles, and this one, they've chosen to commit their talents to these games we love, creating new game modes for people. And it's always like without any reasonable expectation of payoff. I think it's nice if people enjoy it, that you can support them. It makes the content more likely to happen, right? But it's pretty incredible because they could do other things too.
Discord.
What about Mind Goblin? Mind Goblin
However,
what?
to continue on Resurgence, we need donations. This is an extremely time-intensive project to make, and Lamberg works on it as a full-time job. Without support, development will currently end in March. If you have the means to spare, please consider donating on Patreon or Boosty.
Did you say it will
Links
end
are
in
in the
March
description.
if you don't pay?
To play Resurgence of the Storm right now, first download Starcraft 2. Starcraft 2 itself is also free to play. Go to the Resurgence of the Storm Discord, link in the description.
The goal was reached. Yeah, so it will continue for now.
Go to the Patcher
How
channel.
much were they asking for? Do we know how much they were asking for? Boosty? It's pretty fun. Have you?
We'd like to share a short roadmap with you to show some of what we've been planning and working on recently.
Just got here. What's the point of remaking Hatsunesi 2? Because they could add to it new maps, new heroes, and they could change existing things, Hertassen. If you see value in that, then, you know, that.
Right now, a weapon-switching ranged assassin is in development, Calf. She has a variety of weapons to switch between for any situation. A new battleground is in development, Battle for Slain. This Protoss-themed battleground has an objective similar to Infernal Shrines, which will summon a Void Thrasher to attack your enemies.
I feel like I accidentally went backwards. We pretty much reached the end already. I'm gonna show you guys the game now. Let's launch Starcraft. Here's the link to the video. It's pretty simple. You just download the installer, you put it anywhere, and then you tell it where your Starcraft executable is. That's it. Make sure Starcraft isn't open while you install the mod. Alright, then you go to Custom, Arcade, and you type RATS. Now, I could have people join, but let's not. Add AI cannot. Okay, that's fine. Bleep, bleep. Okay, guys, here we go. I opened the lobby. I don't have any other players in the lobby for now, but just looking to show what the game looks like, right? If you want to try to play a game of Resurgence of the Storm inside the StarCraft 2 client. This is the Cursed Hollow map. You can find people to play with on the Discord, I imagine. I didn't see that the AI add AI function was working. I don't know if they added AI yet. I miss that sound so much. Yeah, me too. Of like a StarCraft map starting. If you start the lobby in sandbox mode, you get a oh, Mindhawk. You're another developer for the map. You get a debug menu. Right, but I'm not a programmer, so I don't know how to debug. This sound equals anxiety. Bleep, bleep. We got only 3,000 seconds to pick a hero. Now, I feel like I should show a classic hero first of all, like Artanis. I tried Diablo before. I could also take a look at Talendar or Selendis, which actually would be really cool. But let's check out Artanis first. Debug menus like cheats menu in a custom game. I see. I guess preloading needs to be done every time so that there won't be lag when the hero first appears. Okay, here we go. This is
Prepare yourself for
loud.
battle.
Here we go. This is RATS, Resurgence of the Storm, hot inside StarCraft 2. Let me first change the direction of my mouse wheel drag. There we go. Yeah, so you can see immediately that it is an incredibly lifelike recreation of Cursed Hollow and of the game in general. Though it is visible that some aesthetic decisions have been made to make it look different than normal. These are decisions that I imagine they could change if they wanted to, but everything is pink. This is normally not the case. I don't know if this is a intentional decision to differentiate it from Heroes of the Storm, or if they just wanted to showcase what also can be done. It is with great humility that I must admit that the pink colors that were showcased in the playing of this map were actually my own personal allied and enemy colors. So I added this addendum to let you know that it was not the developer's choice to be pink. It was mine. You can see that the pathing is a little different. You can do minute body blocking in HUDs. That doesn't seem to be possible at all in this game. And you can't pick abilities with Control 1 like you would in Heroes of the Storm. And there's a new ability. And every time you press Control, this stays up instead of like coming up. So like in HUDs, only while you hold Control does it stay up. Here you press it once, it stays up. So there's definitely like a couple of changes that an experienced player will notice is different. Let me first show a couple of things that are the same. This is all really cool. Of course I have a little bit of lag because I'm on the NA server since Europe was having some problems. So this is all really well done and impressive. I do feel like the ability sounds are relatively loud, even though I already turned down my volume quite a bit. Okay, maybe it's just a volume thing. You only have quick cast on release. And then for some reason, and I don't know the reasoning behind this, or whether you guys will like it or dislike it, minions now have a death sound. As an influencer, I should give you my opinion so that it can become yours. Maybe I have to lower these sound effects. So even though I say you can like it or don't like it, I'm gonna tell you my opinion. I personally don't love it, because these sound like low quality death sound effects you might find in a sound database, and they actually remind me of the job of Warcraft Reforged, where the original Warcraft 3 had really high quality sounds, and Reforged, they kind of made a mockery of that sound quality. They added, nobody asked, nobody wanted it, nobody liked it as far as I know. They added a bunch of death sounds to the Warcraft 3 units that, to me, I don't like them because they're bad, firstly. And secondly, I don't like them because they were not in the original, which means that they think they can now do better than the original, and they were wrong. But also, it's not nostalgic for me to hear these new sounds inside Warcraft 3. I liked it at first, now I don't. Good, consider yourself influenced. I don't like the sounds, and for me this would be enough reason to not want to play this. So my vote would be, and this is also how you can see that there's going to be potentially some of the challenges that affect game developers in general. Gamers are a very critical bunch. I know I'm a critical player too. I apologize if the map makers are watching and they're like, that's too bad, we like it or whatever, right? And they're gonna have to make a decision. How many people like it, how many don't like it, is it a plus, is it a minus? I know I'm critical, so you don't have to take my opinion for it, but if you're easily influenced, you will. I don't like it, it would be a reason not to play with this. But outside of those sounds, right, this is incredibly well done. The fact that this is all possible, that you can mount up, that you can basically with the same control scheme that you use in Heroes of the Storm, you can mount up, you can move around, it all looks the same. It's really, really impressive. You start channeling this. You can tell that there's like slightly less FPS in how it smooths out the bar. It's like more gradual in HUDs. I noticed these things because I played HUDs for like, 10 years almost. But it's good enough, like that's not a big deal. It's really, really well done. You can pick your abilities and then you can throw out the Prism mid-Q, just like the later update for Artanis that probably came like a couple of years after he came out. Finally, they added the QE swap. So I think that's super cool. I think it's a very cool project, well made. And yeah, if you want to play it, go check out the link in my description. You can find some people to play with and so on. You're streaming in Starcraft, by the way, Grubby. I know, this is Starcraft. This is Starcraft. That's why I'm in the Starcraft category. Why does it say you're playing Starcraft 2? Well, if you listened for more than a second, you would know. Yeah, that's why it's so impressive. So consider that part of the development to be extremely successful. All right, hope you guys enjoyed this showcase of some of the amazing user-generated content that's out there in the Blizzard games. This time in StarCraft for HOTS. It's called ROTS. Hope you enjoyed it. See ya.